What's up, Degenerate Nation? Welcome to the Big Bets on Campus podcast. This is the Week 4 college football betting preview. I'm Stuckey, and joining me, as always, my fellow BBOC co-host, Collin Wilson. Got a lot to get to today. We'll hit 5 marquee games. We'll do 10 to 12 more in the rundown. I'll have an extensive list of trash again. We got San Diego State going nowhere fast. Football. Colin talking Arkansas. We'll hit some Friday Night Lights, our favorites, favorite underdogs. We got it all. Jam-packed show. We'll hit, 30 games in total in hopefully a little over an hour.
Can I make an opening statement real quick?
Yeah.
If you need to do a pumpkin patch or pumpkin spice latte coffee run with your significant other or your kids, find an 11, 2:30, or 7 p.m. spot. Because next week, Bama, Georgia, right? Penn State, Oregon, Notre Dame's coming here to Fayetteville. I mean, next week, you're not leaving the couch for 14 hours. If you have to find a spot to get away with your family, try to find a 2-hour window this weekend, because next weekend is going to be loaded.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate that I'll never have to worry about that. I have a kid on the way, but my wife's a better. She knows what she got into. She's doing her baby shower in October, and I'm going to it. I don't know. It's going to be just all of our friends. When is the
baby due? And why are we not betting on the pool? Why is there not a pool?
Oh, there will be. It's due Christmas Day.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah. But we're just doing a football watch along at the bar.
Could you imagine having to hold your brand new child and watch the Hawaii Bowl in the room your wife is trying to recover in? That's the sweats.
Yeah, I might have to. Yeah, if the Hawaii Bowl's on, I might have to get someone to go for me. I'm just kidding. All right. All right. By the way, if you use Twitter and you haven't yet, be sure to check out and use @Playbook. It's a new betting bot from Action. You guys are crushing it. It's being used so much, and it's so easy that it just takes out all the manual work. When you want to bet, you can just reply to someone's bet slip, or just tell @Playbook, hey, make this slip. It'll reply to you, and then you just click the link. It'll take you to your book, and it'll be there already. And we'll also have a quick slip link in the video and podcast description where you can find and tail some of the bets we discussed in today's episode, or you can visit actionnetwork.com/betnow. And also one last plug. Well, 2 plugs, I should say. The Action Network podcast, Raybon and I do every week. NFL, that's always out the day before this. Make sure you check that out. We just did week 3, which I always love in the NFL. And then I'm also the new co-host of the Favorites podcast, which is returned with the new lineup. Episodes Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday with Kendra Middleton and Brandon Kravitz. Bets, stories, all sorts of fun stuff, NFL-based, wherever you get your podcasts. All right, before we dive into it, Board of Transparency.
How do we do?
Last week we went 3-2 on the agree. Our losses were Florida plus 7.5 and EMU plus 24.5. Unbelievable. Should have been 5-0. Talk about 2 of the most painful losses on the board that deserve to get there.
I'd love for someone at PFF to reach out to me. They graded DJ Lagway 7 turnover-worthy plays on Sunday, and then on Monday it flipped to 6 turnover-worthy plays. It's like they went and regraded him after they watched him again, but it was horrible. That really cost us a good day on the Board of Transparency.
Yep, but still a winning day. 40, 28-1 overall, 58.8%. Trash went 3-3 thanks to that EMU and the Tulsa Mel. Really should have been 5-1, but sometimes you get the break, sometimes you don't. 26 and 17 overall in trash over the 2 years. That's 60.5%. And then head-to-head, you got on the board with Oklahoma. It's now 2-1. Although I think I have one in my pocket with Clemson not to win the ACC.
You're banking on that for the rest of the year.
Yes, you bet. All right, let's get into the marquee games. Let's start out west. 10 a.m. local kick, Texas Tech at Utah. By the way, if I hear anyone else say the altitude is going to be an advantage, it's not. Salt Lake City is 4,500 feet. Lubbock, people don't realize. Yeah. Lubbock's 3,500 feet. Lubbock is pretty high altitude, so I don't think that's going to be a major issue. I do think it might be I don't know. I mean, like the travel and then the early kick, it's weird.
It's a quieter Rice Eccles.
Right? Yes, that's where like Utah has one of the biggest home field advantages in all of college football. Part of that is elevation. That's dampened here. That's dampened a bit because Texas Tech is at like 3,500 feet, and this isn't Wyoming at like 7,000 feet in Laramie. And then this isn't at night where it's insane. So 10 a.m. maybe it's a little more of a subdued crowd. I'm sure the Utah fans will still get after it a bit and be out there in full force, but I don't know. I think it might work in Texas Tech's favor a bit, and it might not be as great of a home field advantage as usual. This is a really fascinating game. Utah is a 3-point favorite here. One of the reasons it's fascinating is because these are the two co-favorites as of right now, the two favorites to win the Big 12. So this game could end up deciding who goes there, who goes to the Big 12 championship, who ultimately goes to the college football playoff. Also, we still have unanswered questions about both teams because, let's be frank, neither of them have played anybody. So they look good. Their metrics look good. The additions that they brought in the offseason look good. But, like UCLA, Utah played UCLA. That was supposed to be like the best data points, but that's a meaningless data point after you lose by 35 at home to New Mexico. So it's hard to really dig in to a lot of the advanced metrics and say, okay, this is what I can really get from these teams. I will say, like, I do think Texas Tech hitting the portal with their defensive line that they brought in. Mm. I also know and pretty confident that Utah is one of the best offensive lines in all of college football. A couple of future pros at tackles. So that matchup in the trenches is going to be fascinating. These are two, and also Morton has looked fantastic. He's healthy. These are two polar opposite attacks. You have Utah that wants to run it with Dampier, different formations, and then Texas Tech, which is more of a pass-heavy, air raid-based offense, which at times has given Utah man-heavy scheme problems in the past. Remember, there was like USC teams. The weakness for Texas Tech, in my opinion, is their corners, but the weakness for Utah's offense is their wide receivers. So there's a lot of just, hey, the weakness on weakness, strength on strength.
Mirroring stats, definitely.
Yeah. And so, and the Utah secondary, which I did have some questions about, like their linebackers are excellent. They haven't really been tested yet. So we'll see. They have a couple of experienced guys, but they lost some talent from that secondary last year. How do you make sense of this game? What are you seeing? I could see it getting off to a slow start.
Yeah.
Because these teams are like, all right, let's feel each other out, early kick. So, and then it gets going. So the live over might be worth a look, but what are you seeing here?
That's what I wanted. I wanted the over in this game. I actually project this well above what the market is at. And a lot of that is not just Texas Tech being 22 seconds per play, but Utah has really increased their tempo also. They're 26 seconds per play. And I think when you look at what they are as an offense, it's really Devin Dampier, and he's done, pretty much what we thought that he was going to do. He's, creating, unbelievable amount of yards. Nearly half of Devin Dampier's yards have come after first contact. I think Wazoo transfer Wayshawn Parker should probably get some more carries. He's really showing it. Yards after first contact, forced missed tackles. This is the number one most efficient rushing team in the nation, and 11th in line yards. But I kind of hold back on that because Texas Tech's strength of schedule is like dead last in FBS, and Utah is 119th. I mean, these two have been playing cupcakes all day. So it's like
they've taken care of business as they should have, but it's
all on the ground, not through the air, right? And
there's no explosiveness through the air for Utah so far.
Utah's defense, though, is 73rd in coverage grading. So what I do is when I have strength of schedules that are so poor and so bad, I go through all the stats and I figure out which one are you lacking in. And if you're lacking in it, why are you lacking in it against this schedule? Well, Utah's 73rd in coverage grading per PFF. That's good for Baron Morton, who's just absolutely lighting it up against who? Oregon State, UAPB, Kent State, 1,000 yards, 6 big-time throws, 1 turnover-worthy play. So, I mean, Utah has their issues in standard downs explosives, but Texas Tech's defense has had major issues like 130th in standard downs explosives allowed. Both of these defenses are allowing explosive plays to their respective, Utah is going to get the rush in. I think Devin Dampier is going to explode. I think Baron Morton's going to explode. But I'm like you, 11 a.m., 9 a.m. kick locally. I don't think they come out guns blazing in the first quarter. So I want the over in this game. I project it up in the 60s, but I don't want to touch it until they're awake. So, I'm still kind of, how do I play this? I don't know. I make it Utah -5. I would play, if I had to play the side, I'd play Utah, but I am either going to play pregame over or live over.
My gut is telling me Tech is the side. Like but I don't have much confidence in it. Like I think that I have Tech slightly power rated ahead of Utah.
They're tackling great, which is good. You have to against Devin Dampier.
Yeah, I think that they have the better roster overall, but I also don't trust McGuire on the road. Like, so the coaching edge goes to Utah. The special teams edge might go to Texas Tech. Utah's kicker missed a bunch of kicks against Wyoming, which is noteworthy. But how I think this, like how I'm seeing this play out, is I think Texas Tech's defensive line can like just neutralize the Utah offensive line. Like that'll be a battle. Like they can at least hold their own. They're not going to get bowled over. Now the tempo is interesting because Utah might want to go faster because Tech likes to rotate a lot of their defensive linemen. So that might be a strategy that Utah employs. But I don't think Utah can exploit the Tech corners. And their safeties and linebackers are really good, so they can help with the run. They can, guys like Rodriguez, they can just dedicate all their attention to Dampier and using his legs. And I still don't fully trust him to beat a team with his arm, especially with these receivers. And on the other end, I'm not fully sold on the Utah secondary. I don't think
I agree there
that Tech's going to have a ton of success running it, but Morton, I think he looks really good with him and these receivers. I think that they can do enough through the air. So I don't know. I'm leaning Tech, but like I said, this is like a huge get of data points. So it won't be a big bet, but I might take the 3. I might wait to bet it live. This should be a back and forth game.
The if I had a prop to bet, I'd do Jacoby Williams out of the backfield with receiving yards. He's been unbelievably productive from an explosive perspective. I think he's the 3rd leading in targets for Texas Tech. Jacoby Williams has been a madman out of the backfield, and I think that's what they're going to do here a lot against Utah.
All right, let's move on to the SEC. Talk a little Auburn at Oklahoma. This is the Jackson Arnold revenge game as he returns to Norman. Oklahoma has taken some money here since open.
I had 4.5 on open. I can't believe it's up to 7.
Yeah, up to 7.5 at some places. Total has been plummeting, which I think makes some sense given the familiarity of schemes, Venable's familiarity with Jackson Arnold and his strengths and weaknesses. But I don't know. I can't get to the under now. I worry about the pace of this game. I also worry, I don't think that.
Well, you have
Oklahoma's
to worry that Auburn can't tackle Mateer too. That could be a problem.
Auburn's tackling has been a major issue. Auburn has injuries, like losing Crawford. It looks like Crawford's not going to play at corner is big. They have injuries at corner. Like a true freshman's going to have to get some big reps here. So unless like guys like Falk, like the Oklahoma offensive line is their weakness on the whole team. And they've had injuries and they have freshmen in there and they've got different guys. Also, R. Mason Thomas for Oklahoma, one of their best defenders. He's out for the first half. Can guys like Falk just get so much penetration and dominate this offensive line? That's, I think, Auburn's best path. I can't see Auburn running it against this. Like their offensive line is really good, but the Oklahoma defensive front is good. Their linebackers are good. Venables is not going to let Arnold run it here. So they're going to dare him to throw. That, there's some variance there because Oklahoma's corners, like this kid Guillory looks really good, but they haven't been tested. Like Michigan has no receivers. They didn't even try it. Like they weren't doing anything. And then it was Temple and an FCS school. Auburn has really good receivers. The question is, can Arnold actually hit them and throw and do it? So that's a major question mark for me. The injuries in the secondary and how Auburn's secondary has looked, I think might swing this to Oklahoma's way, but this is getting pretty expensive. The totals come down. I mean, eventually this total is going to get down to a point where I might look at the over. What are you seeing here?
I disagree with I agree with everything you said, except for your assessment of the market. I make this Oklahoma -8. I would still play it at 7. I think Oklahoma is that good, and I think Auburn's defense is a fraud. So couple of things to back up those.
Their run D's legit, but Oklahoma can't really run it, so
Right.
like that doesn't really matter.
Baylor hit 13 passes of at least 12 yards against this.
Yeah, that's how Baylor attacked. So you got to think that that's how Oklahoma's going to attack.
That's exactly where Deion Burks, Isaiah Satania, that's exactly where Mateer is coming in here.
And it looks like Lewis is going to play their other receiver.
Yeah, I mean, assuming Satania's hands show up to the game. South Alabama, this is the other thing that bothers me about Auburn. South Alabama generated a methodical drive, that is a 10-play drive, on almost every single possession against Auburn. That is disgusting. The national average is creating 1.5 methodical drives per game, and South Alabama nearly did it on every single possession. Auburn's outside the top 100 in defensive rush success rate, passing EPA, explosives were coming in standard downs, passing downs. They're getting torn up by everybody. And maybe it's just so the Baylor's offense is like in Arkansas. Maybe the Baylor offense is really good and the defense is really bad, and that Auburn just played to that in the first game. And we kind of got a misconception about who they were. So I think OU, they're top 50 in both success rate, both rush and pass. They're just top 40 in finishing drives. The offense is not near where I thought it would be at this point, Stuck. I thought it'd be a little bit more elite with Mateer there. But their top 4 targets have been very, very good. 59 catches. Each one of them averages at least 12.1 yards per catch. Mateer is hitting targets, and they are making plays happen no matter who those top 4 targets are. I think the OU defense has been elite with Venables. He's been focusing solely on that side of the ball. They have the second best pass defense in regards of success rate in the entire nation, and they've generated a top 20 rank in quality and finishing drives. Now, their strength of schedule is 59th. They could have played better offenses, like with Michigan and Temple and such. But for the tests that they've been up against, they've looked really, really good, solid.
Yeah.
By the way, third downs. OU's only allowed 7 of 41 to be converted. I know the offense you can point it out, but that is a nice mark. 7 of 41 third downs allowed. It's good.
Yeah, their defense is elite. The only questions I have is like just the corners, like Guillory. He looks really good. He looks the part, but they haven't been tested by receivers like this. But then again, is Arnold going to be capable enough to hit them consistently? I do think the biggest matchup advantage will be the Oklahoma wide receivers against the Auburn secondary, which isn't at full strength, although it looks like Champ Anthony's going to come back, which might help a bit. But not having Crawford is big. And he might get, like they say, it's a game time decision. I don't think he's going to play.
Venables is going to know exactly where to put pressure on the offensive line. He's going to know exactly if Jackson Arnold can get to his second and third progression. Venables is going to tailor make this defense this week for Jackson Arnold. Yeah,
the Auburn offensive line is very good. So they have that working for them. But yeah, you're right. That is, I think, an advantage, a major advantage for Venables. Very good chess match between Venables and Freeze here. Like I said, the one weakness, it could be that Oklahoma secondary, which hasn't been tested. Mm-hmm. So Arnold's going to have to be good, going to have to be good through the air. And then how Auburn can slow down this offense is their defensive line has to be amazing. Guys like Falk have to blow everything up because I just don't think that they're going to be able to cover consistently or tackle consistently on the back end. I make it 5-3. So, but with like some of the injuries, matchups, the Venables thing, I can see shading this to like 6 or so. But now I can't get involved. If this keeps coming down, I might look over.
You want to go on the board at 7?
No, there's matchup things that I don't like.
Just checking.
So
we'll get something on the board.
Oh yeah, we'll get a bunch on the board here. All right, let's go to Florida, Miami. This is, I can't believe Florida let us down last week. Big rivalry game here. Miami's a 7.5 point favorite. Total 51 and a half. 50.5 to 51.5 is what you can find out there. I wanted to go back right to Florida.
Yeah.
Right. These kids show up. It's a Florida Miami game. They didn't quit on Billy Napier last week. They didn't quit on him last year. They're going to show up for this game. So I was all ready to back Florida here, catching over a touchdown. But there's just too many things I don't like. And I guess there is a chance that like they do check out a bit. And it's like they had that war against USF, and then they had that war against LSU. And that this is meanwhile Miami had a bye and then rolled USF. So like they're going to come in here much healthier, much fresher. Here's some of the matchup things I don't like. Caden Jones, who got his first start at right tackle for Bryce Lovett, who was really struggling. He wasn't great. Well, that's problematic. The rest of the Florida offensive line is awesome, but that's problematic going up against Bain and Messidor. That could just ruin everything for what Florida wants to do. Florida's also not getting any pressure at all. And they lost Caleb Banks. That was one of the reasons I liked Florida, who still should have covered, but he got hurt. He didn't play the second half. His first-round draft pick. He's out for the year. So that's huge. And like they don't have McCray. He's hurt. Like they were going to count on him. So this defensive line is just not going to get pressure. And they probably weren't going to get pressure anyway against Miami, which means – and look, the Florida's linebackers and defensive linemen across the board have been really good against the run. Like they've been really good against the run. But they're not getting pressure. And like their secondary can be attacked, and Beck's going to have all day, and these Miami receivers are good, and they're going to get open, and Beck's going to hit them. On the other side of the ball, the way to attack this Miami defense is you have to attack this secondary. Like it's better, but that's still like the weak point. Like they're still really good against the run. Their pass rush is really good, so like you got to block. So like that right tackle is an issue. You can't like from what I've seen, you're not gonna be able to run on Miami.
I mean, when you shut down the Notre Dame's rush attack, that's impressive.
Yes. So can Lagway do that? I don't know. Is he hurt? Is he just because he didn't get reps and he was during the summer? But this offense looks lost. I mean, they only scored 16 against South Florida. And Lagway, his biggest strength is a deep ball. He's 1 of 7 with 3 picks on deep balls this year. Yeah. He's always struggled with his footwork and reading defenses in the intermediary range. I mean, last year he had 3 touchdowns, 7 interceptions in the intermediary range. So what's Miami going to do here? What's Heatherman going to do? You're going to see a ton of 2 deep and then disguise stuff underneath. So they're going to play like shell, like, hey, you're not going to get the deep ball. And then we're going to confuse you into some of these intermediary throws. And, guess what? Bain or Messidor might be breathing down your neck. And Lagway might just be mentally he might have no confidence. He might not be fully healthy. I don't know. They really do miss Dallas. They need Dallas Wilson at wide receiver. Sturdivant stinks, and he's out there playing the whole game. Eugene Wilson doesn't look like the same player. Like with all of his injuries, maybe he's not. So Ball is good, but like, I don't know if I can get there. Under makes sense to me. What are you seeing in Florida, Miami?
Well, I mean, when you're Sturdivant and you get out of UCLA, like he's just cruising now, right? I watched about 60 minutes of Lagway, of tape on Lagway, and the analysis I got out of it was what you said: footwork, body mechanics. He's throwing off wrong foots, his wrong feet, whatever foot. And if you go and look at the numbers, one of the most impressive stats I've ever seen is that the Florida offensive line is 4th in pass blocking per PFF, but their offense is 128th in havoc allowed. How is the offensive line not allowing anyone to get through, and this offense 128?
Well, it's Lagway thrown to the other team, and it's the right tackle. The right tackle is the weak spot, which like Miami you could block everyone else at elite level, and Miami could just ruin it right there. Like I'm sure they're going to give help and use misdirection and stuff, but
that's got to
the rest of their offensive line is elite.
It's got to be a part of it that the fact that Lagway can't deal with a right tackle being missed, because the numbers that I pulled, his pressure rate last year was 33%. This year it's 23%. That's not the problem. All 6 of his INTs came against non-blitz defensive attempts. Yeah,
they're just they're taking away the explosive, confusing him, and he's not reading defenses right now, and his footwork's off, and then he literally went into a drunken stupor in that game.
I'm going to say this. I don't want you to float off your chair and shine and all this shit. But half of his turnover-worthy plays last year came against LSU. What if there's just a Blake Baker problem? What if he just can't figure out LSU's defense?
Yes, but he also had some good plays in that game, and they won that game.
Yeah, but he had half of his turnover-worthy plays came in LSU's game last year, too. So I'm just wondering if it's just the thing with Blake Baker, which would make you pretty happy. But there's a DJ Lagway problem. And the thing is, if you're going to buy Florida, right now it's 7.5. There's a Sharper book out at 8. You're just trickling in on the fact that he fixes whatever is wrong with his feet, his mechanics, his arm, and the pressure's coming in from the right side, because the rest of the offense has actually put up pretty okay numbers.
But the receivers they're not as good as we thought they were going to be. Like, because the Wilson injury, the other Wilson injury, Sturdivant has been a flop. So that hasn't helped.
And I tell you what, going up against what Corey Heatherman has done to this defense, and I think, I've been singing the praises. They're top 25 in havoc. Ruben Bain's been all part of that for Miami. He's already at double-digit pressures, double-digit in tackles. Miami neutralized the rush offenses of South Florida and Notre Dame. That's clean. That is a betting deliverable. There have been some explosives in the air. So you're right. The Bulls and the Irish both had 10 passes over 15 yards. So I think it's important to know that it's going to have to come through the air. Can Florida do that? I'm not so confident, not even if Lagway gets it cleaned up, but the targets that he's hitting. So, I think there's something else that we need to mention. If you're going to back Miami here, something that would make me nervous. They only missed 10 tackles total against Notre Dame and Bethune-Cookman. And then I think they just took the week off against South Alabama. They missed 14 tackles. Against South Florida, sorry. Against South Florida, they missed 14 tackles. So I'm not sure if they just took the week off, but the defense had some issues tackling the Bulls. So we'll see how that turns out. Now, for me, the bet is Malachi Toney, by far. If you look at how Florida has been attacked, the most targets and the most explosive plays were hitting the slot receivers on the middle of the Florida defense. If you go and look at USF and you go and look at everybody that's played against Florida, LSU, it's all come on the slot. Malachi Toney lines up in the slot. That's exactly where he was used against Notre Dame. I don't know what number I would play Florida at. I think this is going to get steamed. I think it's going to blow through 8 up to 9.
Florida took a lot of money last week. I don't know if everyone is out on them. I don't know. This might be a pass for me. Too much.
I would play a Malachi Toney prop. That's what I would do for everybody. Receiving or
right. Big Ten, Illinois at Indiana. Indiana out to a 6.5 point favorite. Soft opens at 2.5. Total down a couple points to 52.5. This game will be primetime, NBC, 7:30 Eastern. Top 20 matchup between Illinois and Indiana. I think the first time ever these two teams have faced off in football while both being ranked.
The first Signetti and Brett Bielema event here. Ought to be pretty good.
Yes. The market has taken off here. I wanted Indiana first half. And now because it's taken off, I'm not going to be able to get a 3 or better. So if this comes back, I assume we might get some buyback on Illinois at some point. I don't know. I mean, it was pretty sharp money on Indiana because it's I can tell you that. But so I wanted an Indiana -3 first half. Illinois has been getting off the slow starts. They've made some good adjustments in the second half. It's a really experienced roster and staff that know each other well. I expected this crowd is going to be juiced. I think they can feed off of that. But this game's hard to project because Indiana's played 3 little sisters of the poor. I love everything they're doing. I love the roster. I think they're a better team than Illinois. Like, for example, BB is out for the year. Their running back, who's really good, I like, but they still have a pretty deep running back room. We like Mendoza. I love their defense. Like their weakness at the end of last year is at left guard after Evans got hurt, but he's back and playing well. So this team looks really good. Like this looks like a top 10, 15 team to me. I think Illinois is probably like a top 20 to 25 team. Can I lay 6.5? No, I wanted first half. I'm hoping it comes back. What are you seeing here between Indiana and Illinois?
Well, Indiana is the number 1 defensive havoc team so far. And I know that comes against a schedule that includes
played literally nobody.
Indiana State, Kennesaw, and ODU. What makes me nervous about the Indiana offense is that Old Dominion was plus 1.3 yards per play better than Indiana. Maybe that was just a week 1 issue, but maybe that's one of these Indiana starts off slow. You're right. They do start off slow, and ODU looked pretty good in the box score against Indiana, and then, eventually went and beat the hell out of Virginia Tech. But the Illinois offensive line has given up 28 pressures on 93 dropbacks from Luke Altmaier so far.
That might be the weak area in this whole game. I was so experienced. This offensive line is not elite.
Altmaier has not produced a big-time throw in Illinois' 2 FBS games.
He also hasn't thrown a turnover-worthy play, to be fair, which has been an issue.
I know we've been counting on those, but I lean Indiana and I lean over in this game, and I think maybe Indiana team total over is where I'm going to settle on in the middle because you're right. The number's taken off. I project this at 2. I still would have bought this at 3, but now we're up at there's 6.5 at FanDuel. Like, where are we going here? Is everybody dead for Illinois? So I'm going to go team total on Indiana over. Actually,
I'm at Indiana minus 5.4. So I agree with the move. I wanted first half. Mm-hmm. If it's 3 or better, I'm in. I'll have Indiana in some form or fashion in the first half or game if this comes back a bit. All right. But we're going to learn a lot about this Indiana and some of the changes because we just haven't seen them against anyone with a pulse. All right, Michigan at Nebraska. It's a big one for Corn. Can we finally do it, Huskers? Can we finally beat a top 25 team? 0-27 over the past 27 matchups versus top 25 teams. I haven't beat a ranked Big Ten opponent since 2015. The Nebraska pass defense has been elite. Their run defense has not, because guess what? Their interior defensive line's taken a big step back. Obviously, that wasn't hard to guess because they lost 2 NFL guys there. But their run D has been very vulnerable. I mean, Cincy ran it 30 times for 202, 6.7 yards per carry. Sorsby ran it for about 100. Underwood legs, are we unleashing them again here? The Michigan run defense has been excellent, but their interior and their defensive line isn't as dominant as was last year. Shocker. Look at all the NFL guys they've lost. The Nebraska offensive line I really like. They're really experienced. They've been good in pass protection. I think there's only been Rayola's 17% pressure rate, although they've only faced Akron, Houston Christian, and Cincy. And I watched Cincy against Bowling Green, and they couldn't get any pressure. Maybe a bit misleading, but I do like the offensive line. I think the weapons are upgraded. So what I think this comes down to, which team will have more success on early downs? I know that's so generic to say, but if you can, because Nebraska's run D has struggled. So I think that they're probably going to load the box here and force Underwood to beat them, because you're not really scared of these receivers. And the Nebraska secondary has been excellent so far. Because if you could force Michigan into known obvious passing downs, you're not scared of their receivers at all to make plays against the secondary. But if they're able to consistently run and stay ahead of the chains, and that's when you can use Underwood's legs, then it could be trouble. And then if it's Nebraska that's behind the sticks, Wink can bring pressure, force Raiola into a mistake. He does struggle under pressure, although he's pretty good against the blitz. It's more like when you play coverage and you get natural pressure. Michigan already playing at Oklahoma helps. The true freshman already went to Oklahoma. Will they open it up more now? I would assume that they learned from that. I do think Michigan should have more success running it, but can it finish drives? I do trust the Nebraska passing attack more. And if we're talking about late downs, because of that advantage, on the season, Nebraska 62% on third downs, Michigan 44%. That might end up being the difference. This new Michigan offensive line versus the new Nebraska defensive line is a matchup to watch. And Michigan has both their guards hurt. They might have 2 new guards in there. They had some good new guards last week. They could get Rod Moore back in the secondary as well. All this to say, I do make Nebraska the slightest of favorites.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm lower on the market than Michigan now. I am really interested in watching this game because if Underwood's going to run like that, and I just don't trust it. I really don't trust this offensive line. I don't trust the receivers. I think the defense, they should have got blown out by Oklahoma. But there's obviously some potential here for this team to rise because of Underwood. They just need some other guys to emerge, the offensive line to come together. Nebraska's kind of more of a known commodity, but so I'm leaning Nebraska. If I can get a 3, I am in on Nebraska 100%. I'm in on that. And by the way, Nebraska special teams, I think, are better. Nebraska special teams are good. They fixed that issue. And Michigan's having some issues with punts and even some minor kicking issues. So I lean Nebraska. They will be in my round robin, I think. What are you saying here?
I want Michigan pretty bad. I took over on open. It was a 44.5. I would still play at 46.5.
I don't mind the over.
Yeah, I see advantages for both offenses here. But because of what Michigan can expose, I favor them more in this game. So Bryce Underwood did have 2 turnover-worthy plays against Central Michigan, but I don't think that's going to come into play here. And I love Biff Poggi just absolutely running Central Michigan up a flagpole, 63-3. No mercy. Cobra Kai shit, right? I mean, Bryce Underwood's ability to scramble has been his best weapon so far. And the best weapon, for the offense outside of Justice Haynes. I mean, he has 87 yards on scrambles last week while, creating scores. Michigan typical heavy rush, 60% rate. Justice Haynes is averaging 3.8 after his first contact. The offensive line is 14th in stuff rate. That comes on a schedule that does include Oklahoma's defense. And the defense has been high in success rate, but the pass rush and the pass explosives have just not been in the top 50. So there are some holes here on the defense so far. John Mateer created 7 explosive passes against the Wolverines. Can Dylan Raiola produce the same? I'm not sure. There's red zone issues here for Michigan. Half of the opponent's attempts have been touchdowns against the defense. So, I mean, I'm making a case for what Nebraska can do, but I'm not sure Nebraska can do that because the passing attack of Raiola has been the only driving force in this Nebraska offense. The only thing. He's got an extremely low ADOT, 6.8 yards. Is this the Oregon offense? Are we just letting Dane Key and Ja'Cory Barney, like both are 2.3 yards per route run? Like that's what this is. Like Raiola can run around and pretend like he's Patrick Mahomes, but 6.8 yards on average depth of target means you're Oregon's offense. You're Bo Nix. So the Nebraska defense has been awful against the rush. I think this is the biggest handicap of the game. I mean, the Huskers are bottom 15 in defensive rushing success rate, line yards. They're outside the top 100 in stuff rate. What does Michigan want to do? Stick it up, stick it down your throat with Justice Haynes. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And you got those defensive marks against a schedule of Houston Christian, Akron, and Cincinnati?
Yeah, they lost their D linemen. Their interior D linemen. Maker and Robinson are on NFL rosters.
I'll go a little bit farther. Nebraska has severe struggles. Against outside zone and man blocking run concepts. Both are 33% or lower. Justice Haynes and Bryce Underwood will run for days because that's the run concepts that they're in. So I just don't think Raiola's short dumps against Wink's quarters and cover 3 look is going to work here at all. I like Michigan in this game, but the number has been going against me all week. I've just been waiting to get minus 120 on the money line.
So you won't give me 3? You won't give me 3 head to head?
I wouldn't give you 3, but you wouldn't give me money line. So if you want to go 1.5 and split the difference, I'll go on the board with you.
No.
See,
how about will you give me 3 with Tech? You want Utah?
Live.
All right. Let's get to some other quick games here. Head to the rundown. Arizona State at Baylor. So what's wrong with Arizona State? Their top 15 rush EPA success rate, and Baylor's run defense is horrendous, although they might get Jackie Marshall. They should get Jackie Marshall back at full strength this week. That'll help. Phoenix Jackson's hurt. Their secondary has just not been the same because Williams and Turner are hurt. It's been a killer. Losing Bet to Florida killed everything, too, on the defensive line. And they got these nose tackles that just aren't playing. And they're just running dime at time. They're so light up front, and you can run all over them. So Arizona State's rush offense has been elite. But why are they not as good offensively? Well, they're 27% on third downs. They were 46% last year. They're not as efficient in the pass game. Why is that? Well, because Jordan Tyson is the only guy they can throw to. 46% target share, 32% last year. Like Jalen Moss to Fresno, he's out again. They have no one else to throw to. It's just throw to Tyson, throw to Tyson, throw to Tyson. And then they miss Scadaboo out of the backfield. He was their second leading receiver, and they really miss him on third downs, the dump offs. And that's why their third down and their pass efficiency has gone down. The defense also not getting turnovers. There's a drop, one of the most experienced teams in the country, but there's a drop off at nickel from Simmons to guess who? A Purdue transfer, Breedlove. So there's a drop off there. Their stud safety, Alfred, he's out for this game. That's noteworthy. But Baylor can't run the ball. You're not really going to run it on Arizona State. So it's all about Sawyer attacking this ASU secondary, which is a bit vulnerable. Like they're not as strong as they were last year. What does all this say? This is a chaos game. Because it's just going to be Sawyer Robertson trying to hit explosives, and then there's going to be some 3 and outs, and then there's going to be some Arizona State 3 and outs, and then Jordan Tyson's going to break 70-yard and 60-yard pad, and this game's going to go back and forth. Whatever number you want on either team going into this, you'll probably get it live. I got nothing pregame. Anything there?
Yeah, I mean, I make this game Baylor favored by 6. I'm well ahead of market, and I don't like Baylor in this game at all. I think Arizona State's going to be in my money line round robin. I mean, their defensive rushing success rates outside the top 100, and the Sun Devils are using a 58% rush attack, and it's not even Kanye Udo who's been the man. It's Ray League Brown. His numbers are off the chart. Just not seeing a lot of resistance. Baylor's 120th in line yards. Serious issues against man and inside zone concepts.
They don't have anyone in the middle. Jackie Marshall will help, but they got all these nose tackles. They don't even play them because I guess they didn't hit in the portal.
On the other side of the ball, maybe Arizona State's defense can be had for an explosive, but right now they rank 5th in the nation in PBUs. So Sawyer Robertson's going up against some swatters. I like Arizona State in this game.
All right, let's. How about the Iron Skillet? SMU, TCU. TCU major revenge here. They're off a bye. They lost 66-42 last year. SMU's second straight road game. SMU's been sloppy, man. Bottom 10 penalties, the kicker issues. They have injuries, although they might get their receiver Hudson back. They might get a couple linebackers back. They made a switch at tackle last game because one of their tackles has been a mess. It's just not the same defense. They lost a lot of talent. I think TCU rolls.
Yeah, this was an overplay for me. I got uncomfortable about it. I thought it would fly, so I took it at 63, and then somebody with a bag of money came in and shoved on the under and put it to 61.5 at Circa before it immediately popped back up to 62, which is a very key number in total. So if you can get 62, I definitely like the over here. Josh,
there is a. I like TCU 7 or below, and they're not going to keep their like Hoover is rolling. And you know what other bet I like? Let's get a future bet. I'm going to bet this. Put this in the app tonight. Best number out there, plus 750. I was digging into TCU for a while. I like them to win the Big 12. So, I'll be betting them. Now, this game doesn't impact that, but if they look really good, the price might come down, and I do think they're going to look really good. But I look at these standings like, okay, Iowa State, not a believer in. Sorry, I know you are, but I'm not buying it.
Texas Tech, I was preseason. You and I both agree they've been fraudish.
Yes,
I agree with you. They're fraudish.
Texas Tech and Utah, one of those teams, we don't know. They could be worse, right?
Right.
Like, than we think because they haven't played anyone. But one of them is going to have a loss. And by the way,
worse.
Yeah, Baylor's worse because their defense. They didn't hit on any of these guys they were counting on. And then their secondary had injuries. So their defense, like I just don't think that they can win enough games with this defense in like shootouts. Like they're going to lose a couple. So I'm out on Baylor. I was in on Baylor before the year. Luckily, I didn't bet them.
Yeah.
Arizona State is worse than we thought.
Yeah.
And TCU, like who else? Kansas, they don't have the defense. Like West Virginia, Oak State, no. Colorado, Kansas State is get them out of here. They're toast. So who's left? Like I think what this is going to end up being TCU versus probably the winner of this Utah Texas Tech game. And TCU doesn't play Utah, doesn't play Texas Tech. They're scheduled. They're at Arizona State on Friday. I think they win that game. But after that, it's Colorado at home. At Kansas State, worse than we thought. Home against Baylor, worse than we thought. At West Virginia, have injuries. Home against Iowa State, banger for me. At BYU, home at Houston, home against Cincy. Like that's manageable. I think the schedule.
I have them. I look at this. I'm looking at this. I have them for the remainder of the season at 6.9 wins, and I have them favored in every single game. Some of them pretty heavy, and the only one that's a coin flip is Kansas State. I mean, you're not wrong. I'm probably gonna have to join you on this. I mean, like every game, I've got them at least 63% favored.
Put it on the board.
Put it on the board for both of us.
All right, we'll put it at the bottom as a.
Yeah, this is a BBOC bet. I mean, the other games I'm looking at that could be short, like right now, projected late in the season, like minus 4.8 against BYU, minus 4.8 against Iowa State.
I mean, Arizona State will be close. That's like a pick. I would imagine. But it depends on how they look this week and stuff. Like, there's two marquee games. So, all right, we're in on. I
like the over on this game. Right. We're in on TCU for conference. Are we gonna officially place this at plus 750?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll put it in. Put it in tonight. Let the podcast get out there and breathe.
All right.
I'll wait too.
All right.
All right. UAB at Tennessee.
Oh boy.
So
I can't believe
I thought about UAB because this is the trend of all trends. Top 15 teams, after they lose a top 15 game, favored by 30 or more the next game, they're 29% over the past 30 years. They're failing to cover by about a touchdown per game. They all come out flat. We've only seen it twice this year. It's Clemson and Texas. Clemson was down 16-0 to Troy. Texas didn't even get off the bus against San Jose State. They got 5 turnovers. Neither came close to covering. But with that said, you pointed this out to me. So UAB plus 38.5. I'm not sure how UAB will get any stops, so I might need a couple more points to get involved. And you pointed out that Heupel usually runs this up the week after Georgia and does put it on some of these teams like he did against UTEP last year.
Yeah. Yeah, so we were discussing this game, and I thought to myself, Heupel gets pretty pissed after they lose to Georgia, so I went and looked it up. UTEP 56-0. They've scored 48 on Vandy the year before. Mizzou, they put 66 up 3 years ago, and then South Bama 60 before that. I took Tennessee team total over 55, just a little half unit shot. Heupel, for some reason, after these Georgia losses, goes ape shit with his offense. Now, can they listen? If you're going to back UAB, you can't let this just be a part of the main podcast. You got to put this shit in the trash, right? I mean, are you?
I'm not backing UAB.
Okay,
no.
so that's why we're not in the trash segment. I mean, this team is. I mean, we proved that Akron is way better than UAB.
But they could score. They could easily backdoor this. Like, their offense is decent. But I don't know how they'll get any stops. Tulane at Ole Miss. It looks like Simmons is going to start. I think they should go with Chambliss, but
me too. I mean, his finger's probably in better shape than Simmons' lower body injury.
Yeah. I don't know. I could see Tulane here. Tough spot for Ole Miss. Little sandwich. Like, Summerall will have Tulane ready. They should. This Ole Miss offensive line isn't that good. The defense has holes. Like, the offense is electric, but they should be able to run on Tulane. But
yeah, I don't think there's enough talk about how bad Ole Miss's defense is. I understand when you play Arkansas's offense that your line yards and rushing success rate on defense are going to go way down. But right now, Lane's fielding the second worst team in the nation as far as defensive line yards, which means you're not controlling the trench whatsoever. So
I mean, they got lost so much NFL talent, so much talent from last year. That defense was so good. Do you have a play there?
Yeah, I like the over in that over there because Ole Miss can't play defense whatsoever. So this is another one where I like the over. And I know this has been a theme 2 weeks in a row. I am looking for college football defenses. I can't find any. And if the market, it's going to take the market like 2 weeks to adjust. They caught up this week a lot. They really did. But last week was just over city.
I've got to mention the Civil War and the Apple Cup. Unfortunately, Wazoo and Oregon State are horrendous. I want zero part of either dog.
Yeah, I don't even know how you handicap Washington State.
They're bad.
They're Jekyll and Hyde, and Oregon State was the centerpiece of our Havoc. I generally start doing Havoc rankings after we get a month's worth of data. The biggest discrepancy we found on the board this week it was Oregon and their Havoc and Havoc allowed versus Oregon State. So I think this is a chance for Lanning to pile it on. I think there could be easily 2 defensive scores here for the Ducks.
Here's a random one. I like Troy Buffalo under. There's 42.5s out there. The Troy offense, their Bruce Crowder got hurt.
Yep.
It's done. Like, they have nothing. I mean, last week against Memphis, Tucker Kilcrease, who's horrendous, he went 10 of 29 for 65 yards against Memphis. And they ran it 23 times for 40 yards. I don't know. They might go with and Crowder's out. They might go with the Houston transfer. But I don't know. I think Buffalo's defense refocused effort here after what happened with Kent State. And the Troy defense is pretty good. So I think that's a grinder.
And Buffalo didn't score till what? 5 minutes left in the second quarter? Were they sleepwalking?
Yeah, they just didn't show up for that game. So I think their defense refocuses here. I think this is I know Duck agrees with there. By the way, check out the group of 5 guys, Duck and Breeze. And we'll have our live show 10:30 a.m. Eastern on Saturday. Late night game, Sparty at USC, 11 p.m. Eastern. That is brutal for Sparty as far as their body clock is concerned. Michigan State does have injuries. This USC offense has been electric.
They should have.
I would have bet USC. My only reservation is they have Notre Dame. I mean, Illinois next week at noon on Saturday. They have. After that, they have. Let me see. Who do they have? Michigan, and they have Notre Dame and Nebraska. So, late night game here. So what I mean by that is they might just take their foot off the gas. They kind of did that against Purdue last week. So that gives me pause. I'll probably end up betting this game. It's 11 Eastern. USC first half because Michigan State is number one. They have injuries on the offensive side of the ball, and I don't know how their defense gets stopped. This even adjusting for opponent. This USC offense is on another level right now. And Michigan State, like how are they getting, I don't know how they're getting stops. Like they just gave up 24 to Youngstown State. Like,
the Penguins.
Yeah. But their quarterback was 24-34 for 242. Now you're going up against this USC offense. So I think they just want to get a big lead. And by the way, Boston College's offense looked like the greatest show on turf. And then they went and lost to Stanford, and they should have won that Michigan State game. So Probably USC first half. I think they're going to score at will, and then I think they want to just, hey, let's stay healthy, rest up for this big stretch coming up. What are you seeing?
Well, so I think everybody, I've gotten asked this a couple times. What makes your determination on team totals? Well, first off, I can't even bet them till Tuesday, and they're not widely available. So sometimes I wait till Tuesday night or Wednesdays to put in team totals. USC over 37.5 was what I want. I mean, just instantly something I would have banged on Sunday if it was available. For all the points that Stuckey just said, just the severe issues with defending the pass. Spartans are 118th in strength of schedule, including Youngstown. Their defensive pass efficiency ranks 90th. BC, Western Michigan, who's a corpse of an offense. So people ask, like, what is the thinking here? And for me, USC is an offense that needs to stay in rhythm. They're the ones that need to keep their foot on the pedal at all times before they get to their big boy opponents. And so I think this is one of those games where they're going to make an example of it late at night. So it's not, we don't have to worry about 11 a.m. kicks on the West Coast. We don't have to worry about scheduling, about, travel situations. This is a prime spot for USC to light it up.
Also, I do like Duke. Go read my spots piece, which is out in the Action Network app. One quick note there. I think it's just a good buy low spot. There's some regression coming for Duke, not for NC State. I don't trust this NC State team. Speaking of the Action Network app, it's free. If you're new here and you don't have it, you are missing out on the full BBOC betting experience. Use code BBOC20 to get $20 off a year of Action Pro access and never miss a bet from myself, Colin, Duck, and the whole squad. All right.
I like your Duke bet. I mean, I make it 6. I think you and I were texting about it, and I said, oof, 3.5 is out there. And I think what I'm going for, Stuck, is for you to have a clean sheet. That's what makes me nervous about Duke. They got to play a clean game coming up.
They do. I mean, last week they missed 3 failed field goals. They had 1 block, they had 1 missed snap, and they missed another. And then against Illinois, they had 5 turnovers. They've been unlucky on 4th downs. The opposite's true for NC State. Getting turnovers, they're perfect on 4th downs. They've played a weaker strength of schedule. ECU could have beat them. Wake, they were awful for a half. It hasn't been that impressive. Their defense has taken a big step back. I think Duke can contain Smothers. Now, Duke's coverage is way worse. They lost one of their corners to the NFL. They really miss Moore, an All-American safety. Still have a really good corner, but it's just not the same secondary. But I think this is a good buy low spot on Duke. This is their season. If they want to sniff any preseason expectations, you got to win this game. Mm-hmm. All right, it's time for some trash. All right, let's start it off. Miami, Ohio. Who wants to bet them? But after they're 0-2. But this is your strength of schedule disparity game. Miami, Ohio's played 2 Big Ten teams. And by the way, they looked much better against Rutgers. That game was misleading. There was a bad call. Flipped that game. 2 Big Ten teams. UNLV has the worst strength of schedule. Their strength schedule is 200. They played UCLA and almost lost to UCLA at home, by the way, which is bad after what we've seen. They played Sam Houston, and then they almost lost to Idaho State. Played nobody. Now you're going up to Oxford, for a noon kick. Miami, Ohio, special teams advantage here. I said that they're going to get better as the year goes on because they had to reset their whole offense. Brand new offense. Brand new quarterback. They're well coached. That bye week will serve them well. I'm not buying anything UNLV is selling. Give me the team with the much better special teams at home. Redhawks. Agree or disagree?
100% agree.
Put it on the board?
Yeah, put it on the board. I actually make this game 2. I think there's value in the 2.5. I'm going to put it in my money line round robin. UNLV practicing at 9 o'clock in the morning this week. Mullen's screwing with the body clock. I
make my buy a small favorite. Yeah.
UNLV is 129th in strength of schedule. And their numbers are bad for that.
We're going back to with Eastern Michigan.
Is this a quarterback situation with Louisiana, or is this an Eastern Michigan thing?
Well, Eastern Michigan showed life. Their offense is good. They can actually move the ball. Last week they had 461 yards at an SEC school.
Yeah.
You know what Louisiana had? They had in the second half they had 13 plays or 12 plays for -2 yards at an SEC school. They had 126 yards total. 116 yards total. They had 1 broken run. This is how bad I ran last weekend. I had the team total under. And they had -2 yards in the second half. They had 1 broken run. Their other 37 plays, they had 35 yards. And they scored because of a tip pick. I can't lose any more bets this year on interceptions or I'm going to lose my mind. But they don't have a quarterback. Their quarterback got hurt. their backup Beal.
Do I get to say it? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
you could say that their other backup. Go ahead.
Lunch Winfield.
Lunch with a great name. He's more the dual threat guy. But Beal, he's awful. Like he played as a true freshman last year. He went 13 of 30 for 126 yards. He then came in after the injury and in the first game against Rice when they only scored 12 points, and he went 0 of 6 trying to get them to come back. Their offense is so bad. By the way, these are one coach that wins close games, one coach that doesn't. DeSormo, he's awful. And by the way, the quarterbacks last week went 2 of 14 for 4 yards. Not even lying.
One reception, one completed pass per quarterback. One for Lunch, one for Beal.
Yeah, I mean Louisiana 4 and 12 in one score games. That's all Eastern Michigan will play in against teams like this. I think this is a toss up. I make this like a pick.
Yeah.
So special teams, mistake free, Creighton ball. Eastern Michigan looking for their first win. I got a completely broken offense. I can't take advantage of their defense. I like the effort from EMU last week. Eastern Michigan gets it done at home.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. Based on the fact that if this would have Walker Howard, I would make this 9. So if you take him out, you get down to 2. But these two quarterbacks are unbelievable, unbelievably bad. 2 stats.
And it's just a weird spot. Like it's not even conference play.
I don't even know how these two.
Now you're going up to Ypsilanti.
How do these two athletic directors even contact each other and say we should do this? But I mean, what is the travel from Lafayette to Ypsilanti? I mean, that's something. But 2 stats on either side of the ball for Louisiana, I'll throw out. They're dead last in passing success rate on offense, and on defense, they're 131st in havoc. They're just lifeless right now. So yeah, EMU.
It's shocking how bad they are. I mean, the quarterback injury, but everything else.
Fall from grace.
Yeah. Big coaching mismatch in that one. All right, we're going back to the well with Temple.
Oh my god!
Like,
you can't get enough of this team.
First of all, like last week, Oklahoma cared for some reason, but they were going fast. Georgia Tech's not going to go fast. So they have that, and Georgia Tech's an awful big favorite. You bet Georgia Tech is a dog. You bet Brenke is a dog. Letdown spot here. You're not going to run King. There's no way they run King. Too many points. 24. Like it's not a big home field advantage. This is not an elite defense like Oklahoma. So like they're going to be able to run their stuff a bit. And Georgia Tech just doesn't profile. They're like service academy vibes. They don't profile as a big favorite. Give me the Owls. You can't get there?
I don't think I can get there. I mean, I'm trying to see. They had that big win over Miami last year, and they showed up next week against NC State and won 30-29.
This is also a team that lost to Bowling Green a couple of years ago. They lost to Northern Illinois at home. Like I'm talking losing outright as like 21-point favorites. I don't think that's going to happen. But even like they had near upsets. The NC State, they almost lost to NC State last week after a big win.
Yeah,
they play down to teams and they play up.
I agree. They played at their level of competition. 8 overtimes with Georgia last year. I get it. But there's another factor here that you won't accept, and that's you're addicted to Temple.
Well, we'll see. If it's 3 in a row, then it's an addiction. It's only 2 so far. Temple plays after this.
We're going to go 4 weeks in the season without a single owl GIF coming out yet.
I know. I needed them to score a touchdown. They didn't even score a touchdown last week. They have a bye, thank God, next week. And then they're home against UTSA. All right. NIU. This is my favorite trash of the week. NIU. You want to talk about a big dog that's going to cover for you. And this is an awful spot for Mississippi State. They have Tennessee next week and then A&M. Super flat spot. Like, why show anything? But NIU, their offense, all they're going to do, Telly Johnson, Siobhan Wright, they're going to run it. They're going to just grind this game down to a halt like they do in this spot every single time. Ask Notre Dame. Ask Georgia Tech. Thomas Hammock. You want to hear some crazy splits? As a favorite, he's 5-21 against the spread. 19%. As an underdog, he's 24-11. 69%. That's because of the way that they play. He's 7-2 against the spread, 78% when catching more than 2 touchdowns. Hey, look what they did against Maryland 2 weeks ago. And by the way, they're coming off a bye. They had 15 days to prepare for this game with a full roster reset, new offense coordinator. That's important this time of the year. So, yeah, this is all day. I make this 19, and it's a great spot. So give me NIU.
I make it 19 also. So I should agree.
Pace for Miss State isn't great for this, but I think NIU will bleed it out.
I mean, that's the thing is like defensively, I'm completely with you. Offensively, these numbers are horrendous. right?
Yeah, but it's just run, just get a first down. All right, there goes 3 minutes off the clock. All right, get one more. I like their backs. Yeah, their offense is ugly, but they're just going to ugly it up, and they're going to run enough clock.
Let's say I don't think you're wrong. All right, let's go with that.
Okay.
Oh, shit. Just go ahead. There's a 22.5. Do we get 22.5? Because it's Circa's at 22.5. FanDuel's at 22.5. Do we get that?
Sure.
All right.
Right now, the trash and agree tab is all MAC teams. Oof. What? This is my heaven. I played La Tech against your Southern Miss boys. I know you won't agree with that, but
no, I played La Tech too.
Okay, La Tech quarterback change last week. They finally went with the right guy. Pook, they're still using him. He's questionable this week. They're still using his legs. One of their primary corner is also questionable, which is a bit concerning. But La Tech's defense is legit. They finally made the quarterback change, a guy who can actually run their offense. Southern Miss has been getting lucky the last couple of weeks. I mean, last week they had 3 picks inside the 5. One of them was a pick 6. And then App State benched the quarterback, and it got out of hand. I like La Tech at home.
Yeah, you don't have to put me on the board for this because, this is a thing where if I lose this Louisiana Tech bet, I'm actually kind of happy with that Southern Miss 40-1 out there, which I don't need any more jips from you spraying me with water. So, yeah, I agree with you, but we don't need to put a board on this because I've already got a future.
And then my last one is, I mean, this is, I don't know if this qualifies as trash, but
I thought you weren't allowed to bet UConn anymore.
What do you mean? But I won last week with Delaware, so I'm back. I'm off probation. I snuck one in. But I haven't bet on UConn. And now I'm laying 3 touchdowns.
For those of you that don't know, someone called in and put a hit on the voicemails on Stuck, like pre-pandemic. So
yeah, by the way, 959 bet beats. Call, yell. I mean, for all my bets this weekend. We'll have a recap show on Sunday. I laid it with UConn. Like, they lost back-to-back overtime games coming home for Ball State, who is so bad. And it's just a great matchup. You want to attack this UConn secondary. Their corners are kind of weak. Ball State can't throw it. Like, literally can't throw it. And I don't know how Ball State gets a stop. The UConn offense is electric. Fagnano, Skylar Bell.
Yeah.
Top 10 nationally in EPA per pass success rate.
And in Havoc allowed. They don't make mistakes.
Yeah, and that's where you want to attack Ball State, which has some good pass rushers, but they're void of talent on the back end. No talent at linebacker, no talent at safety. Corners are bad. Like, they're this is a bottom 5 pass defense.
I'll join you. Actually, I'm going to play it.
So far, Ball State's given up 67% completion, 876 touchdowns, no interceptions, and that includes a home game against New Hampshire. So, this is, I don't know how they get stops.
I might play the over too. So UConn is 13th in one of my most favorite stats, offensive momentum killer. They don't commit penalties. They don't have 3 and outs. They have extended drives. They end up in scoring position and they end up scoring. UConn they're very impressive offensively. I agree.
Yeah, their offense is electric. Ball State just can't keep up. My only fear is it's a big number and Ball State just wants to run it. They have like an option-esque offense, but I just think UConn's going to score that frequently and take out their frustrations of the last 2 overtime losses. All right, a sleepy spot. I kind of like Purdue. The number's been hit, but for what it's worth, top 25 teams on a losing streak of 2 or more are 29, 66, and 1 against the spread since 2005. 31%. That speaks to the flatness after a couple losses. Like, people are like, oh, they're going to be angry. Usually come out flat, and they have some injury. Notre Dame has some injuries, so I would lean Boilermakers, keeping that within 25, 26.
They definitely got defensive problems.
Georgia State almost made my spots piece and almost made the trash. I need 28 though. It's an awful spot for Vandy. Vandy's an awful big favorite, but Georgia State beat him last year. So do they have this circle? By the way, TJ Finley is the quarterback for Georgia State. Insane. His 6th school. He took over as our QB1. He's dealing with some injuries. Now they're using him and Brown. So there's some uncertainty there. If it gets to 28, I'm going to have to play it though. But that's why I didn't make it. All right, let's go. Nowhere fast. San Diego State hosting Cal. Cal, 12.5-point favorite. This is not the best spot for Cal, and they're not a great favorite role, but
right.
You can't have, and it's coming off the big Minnesota win. You got conference play coming up. San Diego State off of a bye. So it's not a great spot, but I don't know if I'm running to bet San Diego State. And the total is
47?
47 and a half.
Yeah.
My gut says San Diego State covers, but it's not a game I'm running to bet. It's on 10:30 Eastern CBS Network. Maybe I'll get there, but I love JKS. I love this Cal defense is rounding into form under Wilcox. Shocker. Now they don't have a run game. Their offensive line and wide receivers leaves a lot to be desired. But what are you seeing here?
I put a bet in earlier today. We're going to go not the full game under. We're going to go the first half under. San Diego State coming off of a bye, and this quarterback Jaden Denegal. I mean, this is shades of Anthony Calandria here. He is all or nothing. 130th in passing success rate, but 8th in pass EPA. If you go into his ADOT,
You can't really get explosives against Cal, though.
I know, and that's a problem. So he's only hit 28 of 55 passing this year. This is the stat that I love. Jaden Denegal, quarterback for San Diego State, has more passing attempts beyond the 20 than he does in the 10 to 20 range and the 0 to 10 range. The kid doesn't throw anywhere except beyond 20 yards. Can Cal defend the deep shot? Yeah, they're 4th in coverage. They're 9th in passing down success rate. Just give me the first half under. Cal's going to be ready for this. This Denegal numbers, this bomb or nothing. These San Diego State games just keep getting better and better. It's fun to me to watch.
All right. There you have first half under. All right. And then before we get to 3 and out, Colin talking Arkansas football. Arkansas at Memphis. This is a tough spot. They're coming off that Ole Miss game. They probably should have won. They have Notre Dame on deck. Although, are they even looking forward to that after this Notre Dame start? I'm kidding. Arkansas took some money on Open. Open short. It was like 3-4, I think I saw in the soft openers.
Mm-hmm.
Got shot up. Was a service release. Dr. Bob release. He shot up to, now it's over a touchdown. Total 60.5. I assume you're just going to tell us the over like every week with Arkansas.
Well, it's funny is the market's going completely against that. And when I hit the over on Sunday, I was pretty confident from an offensive perspective that Arkansas could pull this off. But remember, that is spreadsheet stuff that spits out and saying this is what the total should be. Then, my sources that I have here in town, Pittman's chewing everybody's ass on Tuesday because there's absolutely zero motivation this week. They didn't practice on Sunday. They didn't practice on Monday. They showed up Tuesday and they were just slugs. Wednesday, same thing. Then you got Bobby yelling. And they just cannot get any motivation out of this team.
Memphis round robin.
I'm not. Here's what I think is going to happen.
I don't know anything about Memphis because they played Chattanooga.
Right.
Then they played Georgia State, who started TJ Finley, who just got ruled eligible. Like he just became eligible and started that game. And then they played Troy, who lost their quarterback and then had to put Kilcrease in on like the second drive. And they couldn't do anything. So I don't have, and this Memphis team is brand new. Right. It's a brand new team on offensive defense. I don't have any data point on them.
Okay. So the motivation isn't there, but Arkansas's offense is going to wake up and figure out that Memphis's tackling so far is graded 134th by PFF. That's horrendous. Taylon Green, Omega Blake, and Mike Washington. I don't know if it's going to be the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter. They're going to wake up and start scoring some points. But Memphis has been a heavy rush offense so far. Sutton Smith has breakaway speed. Brandon Lewis has got 131 rushing yards on design calls. Memphis is really big with inside zone read. They run so much inside zone read. Do you know what Arkansas's defense sucks at, that defensive line? They are 35% success rate against inside zone read. Memphis is going to have success running the ball here. Completely. I'm going to stick with my over. I know the market's going against me. If you haven't bet the over, I would say wait, because I think there's 2 live bets at play here. First, I don't think Arkansas shows up in the first quarter. I mean, I'm just getting all kinds of news that we just do not give a shit about this game. And that might start in the first, second quarter. I don't know when they're going to wake up, but a live over is going to come into play whenever they feel it. And then Memphis, I think, can easily get on the board first here. So I wouldn't want any part of 7.5. To me, I think this is an overtime game, and Arkansas could potentially win by 7. I mean, there is just a not give a shit attitude going on with this crew.
Yeah, which means I think Memphis could be a good round robin moneyline piece.
Yeah, but if Taylon decides to wake up and take it over,
which could happen.
The problem.
All right, before we get out of here, let's go 3 and out. All right, first down, Friday Night Lights. We got 3 games. This I'm going to use as a plug. Listen to our Sunday show. We're going to start talking about the Thursday and Friday games. We said Rice under, which has been hit. We said the Iowa over. Iowa Rutgers over. Rutgers, they have injuries now. They're right down to they might have lost 3 left tackles already for the season. And then they have a wide receiver injury, a running back injury. So they're banged up. They have injuries all over the place. But Their defense is bad. Their offense just continues to cook. And then you also said Tulsa, which has been hit as well. Do you have anything? And we'll continue to do that on the Sunday show. We'll talk about some of the weekday games. Do you have anything to add?
I think Tulsa's good till 10. As I'm recording, where are we at right now? This thing just keeps falling like crazy. We're at 11. We're at 10.5 and 11. Okay, I think this is good until 10. Non-conference sandwich. Tulsa kids wanted to play Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State barely out yards per play, outgained Tennessee Martin, the Skyhawks. Kirk Francis out at quarterback for Tulsa, concussion. Baylor Hayes is going to start. He actually has some legs to him. I like Tulsa here to move around, scoot. And yeah, Iowa Rutgers on the over. Put it in the app today. Got some money on it earlier in the week. This is a thing where it's run concepts related. Rutgers has been horrible against inside zone, and that's all that Gronowski has run with Xavier Williams. Completely inside zone, so a little bit of outside zone. And then Rutgers should get theirs too. They are a heavy inside zone team, man and outside zone concepts. Iowa's been good against zone read. They've been horrible against man blocking concepts. They're 38% success rate. I think both rush offenses have a lot of success here, and they get over this total. By the way, how high? 50.5. So I play Iowa Rutgers to 50.5. We'll see if it steams.
All right, second down, our favorite overdog or favorite. We hit both of these last week, and we hit both of our underdog money lines, which we'll do next. My favorite, I'm going to go Wisconsin. Some -10s out there. I know it's ugly. I know who wants to lay 10 with Wisconsin. I'm hearing Edwards is going to play. Revenge game for Maryland. He knows this defense, but this Maryland team has played nobody. Literally nobody at home. Yeah, they beat FAU with 6 turnovers. They barely beat NIU. Then an FCS school, all at home. True freshman, first road start at Wisconsin. Get right spot for the Badgers. Their defense is significantly improved. I don't like anything about this Maryland offense that I'm seeing so far. They're not going to be able to run the ball. They're going to make some mistakes. And Wisconsin will be able to run it on this Maryland team to set up everything else. And I think Edwards is going to be back. So give me the Badgers at home laying 10. Colin, you're rolling with the Jayhawks, who I also like as well.
Yeah, spot of the weekend is going to be Kansas coming off of a bye against West Virginia, who was a TD underdog and won the backyard brawl. You got Rich Rod out here losing to a MAC team and then coming out saying, well, if you win the backyard brawl, everything's good. Well, they did. So now what are you going to produce the next week with the Lance Leipold coming off a bye week here? So it is a horrific spot. But West Virginia, they're not producing any kind of pass rush whatsoever. 89th in tackling per PFF. So Jalen Daniels should absolutely have a day here. And oh, by the way, Kansas's defense has been
their run defense is really good.
Yeah.
Their linebackers will all be healthy after the bye. That's important. Yeah. Also, Daniels getting to work with his brand new receivers. He was out in the spring. That bye week, that's going to help with this offense. The West Virginia defense is way better than I thought. Zach Alley was a great hire. They did hit on some of these lower level guys, but I don't think that they're going to be able to keep up, and it's a bad spot. And there's injuries. Like they lost their best back. They lost one of the best receivers. They also lost another tight end last week, so they're injured. Kansas should be healthy.
If you can't flush Daniels from the pocket, and this is the handicap on Kansas, if you can't flush Daniels from the pocket and you can't tackle in space, you're in big trouble.
Yeah. All right. Before we get out of here, third down, underdog moneyline parlay. Hit this last week with GT, Georgia Tech, and Vandy. I'm going to go with ECU. BYU traveling out east, true freshman quarterback, road start. Their defense maybe due for some regression. This ECU team's been better than I expected. I think this will be a back-and-forth game. Give me ECU. I also consider Liberty just like the final buy point. This is like all in for your season against JMU. But JMU's coming off a bye. I'm curious to see what they do with their quarterback rotation. And Liberty's left tackle's hurt. They should get some defenders back this week. But their left tackle who had a play last week, and their original left tackle didn't practice today. Their left tackle had a play against Bowling Green. It was one of the worst tackles I've ever seen in my life. And against that JMU front, that could be devastating. There could be other issues going on with Liberty. So let's go with ECU. And you're rolling with the Owls, the Owl
yeah,
GIF.
We may get an Owl GIF here. We're so thankful. So Kennesaw State, we're going to go with them over Arkansas State. And I credit you for telling me, the spot, you can't forget what Arkansas State has done. Like almost beating Iowa State and then turning around and playing, for like the first time ever and trying to show up against Big Brother against Arkansas.
It was Arkansas first, all that emotion. They put it all together, got up for Iowa State. Probably should have had a better chance to win that game. The refs screwed them over. All that energy was 112 degrees on the field. Now that you're going to the smallest FBS stadium out of conference to play Kennesaw with that defense, they already profile as a bad favorite.
And I think the thing is when Wake Forest beat Kennesaw 10-9 at the start of the year, I thought, man, Wake Forest is pretty bad. But it turns out it's the other way around. Wake Forest is actually not as bad as we thought. Kennesaw kept up with them in yards per play in that game, created 5 methodical drives. I mean, Kennesaw can do some offensive here, so I like them to upset Arkansas State.
I mean, yeah, their offense stinks, but their defense is okay, and Arkansas State's defense is bad. So I think that they can move the ball, like you said.
Yep.
All right, how about a bonus fourth down? Favorite bet of the whole day? Do you have it off the top of your head? I'm going to go Miami of Ohio. Noon Eastern, ESPNU.
Oh, boy. I mean, I can't do CLV with Oklahoma minus 4.5, so I'm going to say I love USC over 37.5 team total against Michigan State late at night. That is my pour your scotch, single ice cube, and end your day on that.
All right, that'll have it. Agree tab to recap: TCU to win the Big 12, Miami of Ohio, EMU, NIU, Maction baby, and UConn. Then that's basically the trash plus La Tech. So no head to heads.
You won't take? Yeah, come on. Let's do Michigan, Nebraska. I'll give you 1.5 points. Come on. You know you won't.
No. Give me 3. Like you're gonna push.
Wait, there's no 3 on the board. There's no 3.
Yeah, but I gave you. I was generous with LSU.
I'll give you 2.
I can get 2.5. Fine. We won't. No head to head this week. We'll have one next week. I already know the game it's going to be. All right. I'll let you figure that out. That'll do it for us. Thanks to Colin for joining me. Thanks to our producer in the back end. Most importantly, thanks to all of you. We will be back with a recap episode Monday morning featuring the best of your deranged voicemails, 959-BAD-BEAT. We'll have our live show, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, Saturday. If you want to tell some of the bets we discussed today, look for the quick slip link in the video and podcast description or visit actionnetwork.com/bet now. Subscribe. Tell a friend, tell an enemy, know the drill. Leave a 5-star review. They really help us out. We'll see you back here Monday. Cheers.
Peace out.